Kiryat Sefer, Israel, was a town known for its tranquility. The year was 1991. Life moved at a slower pace here. The gentle rhythm of daily routines was comforting. It was a place where children played freely. Their laughter echoed in the narrow streets. The community was close-knit. Neighbors knew each other. They shared stories over steaming cups of tea. The air was filled with a sense of peace. It permeated the stone walls and red-tiled roofs. Kiryat Sefer felt safe, almost idyllic. The rhythm of life was punctuated by religious observances. The sound of prayers filled the air. Families gathered for Shabbat meals. There was a shared faith. It bound the community together even tighter. This made the events that unfolded all the more shocking. They ripped a hole in the town's peaceful existence. Yoav, Nachman and Gilad were typical boys. They were full of life and mischief. They spent their days playing in the town's streets. Their laughter was a familiar sound. One afternoon they decided to go for a walk. It was an ordinary decision. It was something they did often. The sun was shining, casting long shadows. The boys, full of youthful energy, set off. They chatted and laughed as they walked. They were headed towards a nearby wooded area. This area was a favorite spot for their adventures. As the afternoon wore on, the boys didn't return. At first, no one was particularly worried. It wasn't unusual for them to be out a little later than expected. But as dusk settled, a sense of unease crept in. It started with the families. As evening descended, a shadow fell over Kiryat Sefer. The boys weren't home. The playful sounds they usually made were noticeably absent. A chill settled over the town. It was a stark contrast to the warm spring air. Mothers stood on their doorsteps, their faces etched with worry. Fathers gathered in small groups, their voices hushed with concern. The boys were always home by nightfall. What had happened? Word spread quickly through the tight-knit community. The boys were missing. The news hit the town like a shockwave. It shattered the peaceful facade. The tranquility that had defined Kiryat Sefer was replaced by a palpable tension. Fear hung heavy in the air. Panic set in as darkness enveloped Kiryat Sefer. The missing boys were the only topic of conversation. The community sprang into action. They were determined to find their lost children. Groups of men, their faces grim, fanned out across the town. They searched every nook and cranny. Flashlights cut through the darkness. Their beams danced over the stone walls. Women gathered in homes, their prayers echoing the community's desperate hope. The police were called in. The investigation began. Officers interviewed families. They questioned anyone who might have seen the boys. Every lead was pursued, every possibility considered. But the boys had vanished. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air.